Say something real. Say something real.
I look, and my voice is not working. Good morning, good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Let me apologize right now because I am losing my voice. I already said I was catching a cold and then been talking nonstop yesterday, all night. And so I apologize if my voice sounds a hot mess. I am losing it. I'll just tell you that right now. Let me say, what'd you say? It doesn't sound. I know. Oh, I'm losing it. I can't say that. That's a problem for you. Good morning, Debo. How you doing this morning?
I would be.
No, see, that's why. That's why your mic wasn't working.
No, it was working. It was working. I just, wasn't talking directly into it. I'm great though this morning. And yourself?
I am good. I cannot complain. Like I said, I wish my voice was stronger this morning, but otherwise, I'm straight.
All right.
Hey, Carvey, how you doing this morning, bro? Wonderful, wonderful. All right, y'all. So today is going to be a busy show, a lot to get into. Going to cover election results from the special election in the 4th Senate District race yesterday. Also got to talk about the situation that happened over at the Hyatt Hotel downtown in Milwaukee, in which a man was killed as he was restrained by security guards. I actually received video in real time when that situation was occurring. And so I'm going to be talking to some folks about that this morning. We also have County Supervisor Priscilla Cox coming into the studio this morning to provide some information to the community. And depending on what my schedule looks like, we may also hear from State Representative Lakeisha Myers this morning in relationship to yesterday's election results. So let me start there if I could. As many people know, yesterday, July 2nd, was a special election to fill the remaining 4 months or so that is left on the term for State Senator Lena Taylor, who was appointed to a judicial position with the circuit court. And so there, like right now, it's 5 months left on the term. But because yesterday was considered a primary in the special election, there will also be another election on July 30th. But the person who won the race yesterday is de facto now the senator for the 4th Senate District. And that contest was between State Representative Lakeisha Myers, State Representative Dora Drake. The election results yesterday, we had a 8% turnout. We had an 8% turnout. There were 89,396 registered voters in the 4th Senate District that could have participated. I'll say that number again. There were 89,396 registered voters in the 4th Senate District. Of those nearly 90,000 people, 8% of them showed up to vote. They cast their ballots via absentee ballots, in-person early voting, and then election day voting, okay? So when we looked at the totals, there were 7,149 ballots cast. Of those ballots cast, 6,854 were Democratic, 239 were Republican, 12 were the Constitution Party, 14 were the Libertarian Party. The Green Party cast 7 votes, nonpartisan folks cast 23 votes, and ballots cast blank 23. So the outcome: State Representative Dora Drake won the election yesterday with 65.75% of the vote. She had 4,439 votes. State Representative Lakeisha Myers had 34.04% of the vote. She had 2,298 votes. There were 14 total write-ins in that particular race, which was about 0.21%, so less than 1%. There were 93 wards or precincts that reported. And so we have everything counted, everything is in. One of the things that stood out in this vote, aside from the abysmal low turnout, again, 8% of a district voted. So 92% of all eligible voters did not participate. So just think about that. The weight of the 8% has decided for the next 4 months who will be the state senator. One of the things that we have talked about before is when districts don't show up and don't turn out. When I went back through and looked at some of the ward information on the race yesterday, some of this ward information was absolutely crazy. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay. So in the first, in ward number 1 in the city of Milwaukee, there are registered voters, 1,376 registered voters in Ward 1 in the city of Milwaukee. Of those possible 1,376 registered voters in that ward, only 93 voted. Out of 1,300 people in one ward, only 93 voted. Let me go, hang on. Okay, because I want to be able to pull the totals. In Ward 2, 472 eligible voters in the city of Milwaukee if you live in Ward 2. Of those numbers, only 10 people voted. Out of 472 possible voters in Ward 2 in the city of Milwaukee, only 10 people voted. If you looked at Ward 3, 920 registered voters, 148 voted. In Ward 4, I'm not going to do every ward, but I just want to give you an idea. 1,557 voters in that ward, 158 voted. There were some wards where when we first looked at the first data, let's see, it was averaging a little below 10%. Ward 5, 827 people, 85 voted. But I want to get to when we were looking at totals yesterday for in-person voting, there were wards that had no people show up to vote in person yesterday. I think off the top of my head, I remember like 5 wards in which nobody from that ward voted in person. I think that there were like 3,100 absentee ballots that were sent in or collected as a part of this race. And the numbers I want to get to, though, in terms of voter participation, let me get past these wards in the city, because this is going to speak to something that were concerns that Senator Taylor, when she was in office, raised about the district, the way the district was drawn, voter engagement, voter apathy, what could potentially happen in a race in Milwaukee. And in a lot of ways, you saw it play out in the race yesterday. Um, Ward 37 in Milwaukee, 816 people are registered to vote in that ward. 17 of them voted. Out of 816 people that were eligible to vote in the city Ward 37, only 17 voted. So I'm trying to get to this number. It's a whole bunch of pages. I apologize because what I'm looking for, I told you yesterday that the 4th Senate District comprises 4 different areas. You got Shorewood, all of Glendale, a portion of Wauwatosa, like a small portion, a couple of blocks in Wauwatosa, small portion of Brown Deer. One of the concerns that Senator Taylor at the time had raised during the redistricting process is if turnout is low in Milwaukee, like we saw yesterday, then Shorewood and Glendale, in effect, become much more powerful in terms of selecting a candidate for the 4th Senate District because their voter participation numbers are significantly higher than Milwaukee. And even though the 4th Senate District is a majority minority district, you literally have the minority, which would be whites in the district, deciding who wins the Senate seat because Black people in the district are not showing up in the numbers that they need to. So when I said that we have heard elected officials who have, talked to people and people have repeated what they've said, that they focus heavily on white voters in their districts because the white voters are going to show up. So people have talked about, I cater to and I worry about white voters in the Sherman Park area, white and Jewish voters in that area. If I can, and we've heard people who were considering running for the 4th Senate District say, if I can win Shorewood and Glendale, I can win the Senate race because number one, we know it's going to be low turnout. Number two, we know that white communities show up in higher numbers to vote than in Black communities in the way some of this data has been reading. And so there are Black elected officials that have been overheard saying, in private rooms amongst themselves with other people that, yeah, if I win white wards, white communities, I got a better shot of winning my race. So I'm trying to get to, Lord have mercy, is way at the bottom. Bottom line, the numbers that were showing up in Shorewood, Milwaukee, like Shorewood. Shorewood had in 4 wards, they had 3,600 eligible voters. 510 showed up to vote. 510. In another ward in Shorewood, they had 4 wards, they had 3,000 eligible voters, 333 showed up to vote. We can do this all day. In this another ward, 4 wards in Shorewood, 2,900 voters, nearly 400 of them show up to vote. They triple and quadruple the numbers in Milwaukee, even though they're smaller municipalities. So in effect, Shorewood and Glendale decided the Senate race. Not Milwaukee, because we don't show up. In a majority minority district, the white villages, suburban communities in that district end up deciding the candidate because in the city of Milwaukee, Black voters don't show up in the numbers that they need to influence the outcome of an election. If we do this in November, Joe Biden loses and Donald Trump is the president again. Then when people get frustrated about who candidates respond to, who people seem to be beholden to, you don't utilize your vote. You don't utilize your political power. You give it away. But I should have started with saying to all of the people that went to vote yesterday, thank you so much. To everybody that made the extra effort, they turned in those absentee ballots, they dropped off ballots, they took somebody else to vote. Thank you so much. There were poll workers. I had people calling me at 4:30, 5:30 in the afternoon who said they had only had 3 people come in to vote all that day. Some people went to go vote at 7:45 at night. The polls closed at 8 o'clock. They were number 12 and number 13 at 8 o'clock at night. In relationship to the outcome of this election, it is what we expected because of the amount of money that was put into this campaign in relationship to the repetitive, number of mailers that were sent out by Representative Drake. State Representative Lakeisha Myers chose to focus on the 4-year race as opposed to the 4-month. It's not that she didn't campaign, but she understood her resources. She talked about it on the show. And so she wanted to use her resources differently. So the election results are no surprise for certain people that's watching this. My concern is that, and people will show up for the presidential. These numbers won't look fully like this. But y'all, this is the very thing Lena used to try to beat the drum about. Number one, because of the way the district maps were drawn, and that you pull these suburban suburban kind of communities, Shorewood and Glendale, into that Senate district, and you literally can change the outcomes of that district because white voters are going to show up in greater numbers to vote than black voters. And if I understand that when I'm drawing the district maps, even though it looks like I've drawn a district where you got majority minority voters, voting history, voting patterns say these people are not going to show up. So I know when I'm drawing the district who's going to have more say, because black people consistently give their political power away. I got to take a break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'll be right back.
to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant, on 860 WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I told you all it's going to be a busy morning. This morning, there were certain things that were already planned, even though we're coming off election results. So I know there are people that may want to discuss the election. That's going to have to wait either until the end part of the show today or tomorrow. We should have some time to be able to get into it because there are a couple of pressing conversations that we need to have, in relationship to a recent incident that happened here in Milwaukee. I was talking to Brother Sean Moore, who is in the studio, about which day it was that he sent me this video. And I don't know where I was when the video popped up on my phone, but it was happening in real time. And you realize at that point that a gentleman had been killed outside of the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Milwaukee. And the first portion of the video, I could see the brother was not moving. And at some point, I saw someone walk up with a yellow cover as if to cover his body. And I was like, what is going on? At another point, I received another video. That video, it was earlier than the time frame of the video that Sean shared with me. This video, you actually see a brother being pinned to the ground. There, it looks like they are security people or something connected to the Hyatt Hotel, and you see knees on this brother's back. He sounds distressed. You hear him talking, and at one point, I even thought I heard him say, "I'm sorry" or something. But you hear him, struggling. And then one of the people because I think I saw like 4 people pinning him down. Yeah. One of the people looks up because a woman who had filmed this video and shared it on social media, she is clearly filming. And this guy looks up and says, "This is what you get when you come into the ladies' room," or something like that. And then you see, it looks like personnel from the Hyatt Hotel come out and try to get this woman to stop filming. Yeah. And, I'm on the public side, leave me alone. So a lot of people in the community began to be alarmed, upset, concerned, trying to figure out how this man ends up dying. The gentleman that we are talking about, a 43-year-old brother by the name of Devontae Mitchell. And he was accused of causing a disturbance at the hotel, according to media outlets, that led to what they said was a fight and security guards escorting him out. Now, as opposed to trying to just weed through the details that we've seen in the media, because we know there are always multiple sides to a story, we were fortunate this morning with the assistance of Sean Moore to be able to have family members of Mr. Mitchell join us in the studio. Not the circumstances I would like to meet people, but I want to say thank you so much for coming in this morning to give voice to your family member and the situation that has happened, and help the community understand from your vantage point and what you know what's going on. So we have joining us in the studio this morning Miss Naisha Mitchell, who is Mr. Mitchell's sister. Is it Latricia? Latricia, I apologize. Latricia Giles, cousin. Yes. And Samantha Mitchell, a cousin. Mm-hmm. Hello, ladies. Hello. I would say how you doing this morning, but I already know the answer to that question, I think.
Thanks for having us on. We want to spread this word about.
And can I have you ladies do me a favor? Either pull these mics in or lean in a little bit. I just want to make sure everybody hears you.
Okay. We want to spread the word about his murder because he was murdered. We don't want them to try and sweep this underneath the rug. The blanket statements that they put out in the beginning, they're trying to make it seem like he came in there, caused a disturbance. And then when the police got there, he was non-responsive. That's not what happened. We know the middle part and the end, but we're trying to figure out what happened on the inside. And the only way for us to find that out is to get those videotapes from the Hyatt. But regardless if a nuisance was caused or not, that's not grounds for somebody to lose their life.
When you look at the video, and I'm sure you all, well, I'm assuming everybody's, because, I kept trying to think as a family member trying to watch that, you definitely want to watch because you're trying to get the information. You need to know what you're working with in terms of seeking justice for your family member. But in the video, you can clearly see the pressure being applied to Mr. Mitchell's body. And I see somebody at the rear end of him on that video, like by his legs, people up in his upper torso. But to hear him, I never met Mr. Mitchell. I don't know what his voice sounds like, but I know what it sounds like for somebody to be in distress. Naisha, when you view the video, is that the way you took it as well? Or are there additional things we should understand about what you all may have learned as a family?
Well, when I saw the video, I couldn't even watch the video,
Take your time. It's a hard thing to witness and watch your family member.
The first set of videos was one thing, But when they brought out that video, that shattered me, to hear him screaming, saying he's sorry, pleading for his life, and for them to just keep going, and then for the man to just look in the camera and say, this is what you get when you go into the woman's bathroom. That just made me angry, So you kill someone because they go into a woman's bathroom? He looked with no remorse, no shame, like it was okay,
That was, and I'll just provide that. That was certainly the way it looked to me, Samantha. I mean, like I said, you hear the distress.
Right.
And at what point do you now, have you taken this too far? Because he's subdued. He's pinned down. The authorities should be on their way. And I even got frustrated with the sisters trying to come over and tell the woman to stop videotaping. Yeah. And I remember one of the Hyatt employees saying, why would you want to film this? To document what's happening.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, am I
what are we missing here?
I was losing my mind to see, these women try to prevent them from getting that. So Samantha, what is the Hyatt saying? You guys are saying that you all are trying to access the video to understand what happened on the inside. Are you getting cooperation? I'm sure now everybody's lawyering up and trying to figure out. And were these all security guards? Who were these people? Do you all know that was pinning Mr. Mitchell down?
Yeah, based on the news reports, it was said that there was Hyatt security guards. We don't know if they were from the Hyatt or third party. We're still waiting on those details to surface. We're waiting on more footage to come from, him entering and inside the building. Because like she said, we only have bits and pieces at the end. So we need more footage and we need more. It seems like the Hyatt is cooperative and, they have been in touch. Well, the authorities have been in touch with the family and the media, and they're trying to obtain as much information as possible.
So let me do this before we continue with these details, because there are people, I don't know your brother, or your cousin. And so there are people like, well, who was his brother? So aside from the horrible visual that many of us saw in that video, can you take just a few minutes to tell people about your family member and who this person was.
You see,
to
we
you all.
already
I see you
smiling.
smiling. I see you smiling.
Oh man.
Whoever would like to jump in first.
You want to go first, Nice?
Well, my brother was a good person. Okay. He was a family guy. You know, he loved family. He loved to smile. He loved to be happy. You know, he has a daughter, 8-year-old daughter that he loves to death, and she loves him to death. You know, he wasn't a violent person, you know, so, you know, whatever picture they trying to paint, you know, of him being this bad guy, because that's what it seemed like the road is going down. He was definitely not that. He was not that at all, you know.
He was a big old teddy bear.
He a big dude. I'm looking at the pictures. My son is a big dude. And I was like, yeah, this dude is, he like he could be my son. It's
He
a
was
big
a big
dude.
old teddy bear. He was a family man. And, you know, typically you hear, you know, when situations like this happen and the family's like, oh, he's a good dude. No, he was a good dude. Devontae loved to cook. Devontae was a hustler. He would walk wherever he had to go. If he didn't have a ride to work, he walk in.
Mhm.
He gonna make sure he gets there, you know, and he was doing everything he needed to do to get his life together for himself, you know, and for his daughter. You know, he went through a deep depression when his dad died. You know, that really took him down. And we're just wondering about, you know, the mental illness. But I want you guys to understand that, and I need everybody, the world, to understand that mental illness does not equate to somebody acting crazy. Mental illness does not equate to someone being erratic. That's why we want to know what happened inside of there. Why did he run into the women's bathroom? Who or what was he running from? You know, we need answers. We need to know. But Devontae is not who they were painting him out to be. He ain't somebody that got a long criminal history, and you know, he doesn't have a long list of acting erratic or crazy with anybody.
Because when the guy looked up into the camera, he like, if you just have to infer, he made it. I mean, it almost seemed like it was like there was about to be a sexual assault or something, because one of the women in the background, the one who kind of seemed like she was getting more into it with the woman who was shooting that video, she said something like, I'm trying to remember, but it sounded something like, what if he came in on you? Or it was almost like she was trying to say like their lives were at stake
you
or
hear that?
in jeopardy some way. I got to
think
go
so.
back and
It's
look,
on
and
the
I didn't
video.
bring my cell
Okay.
phone
I couldn't,
because
and
I
just
was
like,
like,
just like Naisha, when I got one of the reporters sent me that video yesterday, and I tried watching it twice all the way through. I couldn't, because hearing him hollering and screaming, and he's saying help, and when the dude, the man, the white man that was on him said, this is what happens when you go into the ladies' restroom, and he said, I'm sorry,
right,
but you gonna still pin them down like that?
right.
Like I couldn't continue watching the video. But I think my sister or somebody at the house was like, did you hear what the lady was saying at the end? And I was like, okay, I got to go back and watch it. I got to get up enough nerve to be able to do so.
Because if you
And I'll
listen
send you the
to it,
video.
it did sound like she was. They were trying to infer
Mhm.
like he came into the restroom to do something, you know, to either attack somebody or something inappropriate. But like you said, not knowing everything that led up to that moment, I literally 2 days ago, I went to breakfast after I left work up here at Mykonos,
Mhm.
and I there you go, man. I went to. Thank you. I went to breakfast, and the way Mykonos is set up, I walked into the kitchen
Mhm.
instead of walking down
the
the next
bathroom. I know
what
hall
you're
to go
talking
to the
about.
bathroom. So literally, this lady is getting ready to walk past me with like a bowl of soup. I'm about to run smack into her, and I was like, I'm standing in the kitchen. I've walked into the men's room by mistake before, not paying attention. So not understanding how he ended up there and what was
Exactly.
going on, not paying attention. I mean, we just don't really know. And so hopefully people will be forthcoming with that information. I'm glad what you said about, you know, making sure that people don't prejudge and start trying to paint a narrative and
Right.
paint a picture. But the arrogant, ignorant way that man looked into that camera,
Mhm.
So you trying to make a point, send a message, that infuriated me.
Man.
I mean, and like you said,
Mhm.
to hear this man, I just was in a George Floyd moment all over again.
Yeah.
To hear Mr. Mitchell saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, he's not fighting you at this
At
point.
all.
And for people not to appreciate how much weight you are applying to somebody's chest
Yeah.
and making it difficult for them to be able to breathe, all of that's crazy to
And
me.
let's not forget him beating him over the head with that metal pole.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. Tell
Yep.
me about that.
He had a metal baton that he was hitting him with.
Mhm.
And there were witnesses that seen there. And if you look at the video again, he was doing it in the video. He was hitting him with the metal
Mhm.
baton in the video. You
You
can hear it.
You can hear it.
Mhm. So you beating
Somebody
a
that's-
subdued man, a man that's pinned down, you beating him in his head with a metal rod. Why?
So, as a family, have you all secured legal representation? Because I know sometimes it's hard to find people to even take, these
Right.
cases. Have you been able to secure an attorney for yourselves?
Yeah, we're being represented by Attorney Ben Crump. We
Okay.
are going to be holding a press conference on Monday. The time and date is going to be determined, but we're going to do a press conference on Monday, and we're
The
going to do the
location.
balloon release on Saturday. For
So this Saturday there'll be.
We're going to do
Where
a
are you
balloon
going to do that
at the Hyatt.
At the Hyatt.
Yep, down at the Hyatt. We're going to do it down there. We're still confirming the times. We'll get you the times as soon as we get it. We didn't want to move too fast until we retained legal counsel because
Right.
we didn't want to say too much, do too much. We wanted to make sure we were doing everything we were supposed to.
How is his daughter?
Not good.
She's
not good. Her dad was her world. And when she was told, she asked if we could call to heaven. Like she said, like, is my dad in heaven? Her mom said, she said, is my dad in heaven? And she was like, yeah. And she's like, can we call up there and ask him if he can come back? So she's heartbroken. She's dealing with it in spurts. She's been having to see his picture on TV every day. It's kind of hard for her not to see it because they showing it constantly. She says she's tired of seeing it.
Well, the one thing that was interesting to me was it didn't get the kind of attention I thought it would get when I first started seeing the videos, because people were sending the videos long before I saw it hit the news
Same.
and really get the kind of attention that it was supposed to get. I wondered about that.
So this is my theory. The RNC is in 2 weeks. The Hyatt is one of the major hotels, and they
We'll need the
don't
bad
want
press.
they don't want to mess up any money that they've already spent. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm sure they charge astronomical prices for those rooms, ballrooms, or whatever. People start seeing this type of press.
Somebody just died outside or was murdered outside of this hotel room. I feel uneasy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there will be some people that will say, how does Ben Crump come to the table? Because he and Al Sharpton get criticized whenever they show up. I know Al Sharpton will tell you, I don't come unless the family calls me. So, I'm just going to ask, did Ben call y'all or did y'all call Ben?
We called Ben.
And I mean, because that has to be said.
Yeah.
Because people try to paint these brothers as ambulance chasers, trying to make a name for ourselves.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one we called. We talked to several attorneys. We, as collectively as a family, talked to each one of them, got a feel for each one of them. And my aunt, Brenda Giles, Devontae's mom, is the one that made the ultimate decision, who made her feel the most comfortable, who gave her the most security that justice will prevail in this case for her child, because that's what she wants.
So in terms of funeral arrangements, this is an unexpected death. Is the family okay by way of being able to cover these expenses? Are you guys doing a GoFundMe? Is there anything set up to be able to assist his daughter? I just want to make sure if the public needs to be aware of that information, that they know that as well.
At this time, no. But
We are going to set up a GoFundMe.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to set up a GoFundMe. We're just waiting to get the verbiage and all of that set up so we can share that information as well. Um, as far as funeral arrangements, we still need to talk to my auntie about it. I believe we have that covered, but because everything has been happening,
yeah.
everybody's been in the fog, and she's been real messed up about this, and she got that call on Sunday. So we know we need to move fast with that, but it's almost like we moving in slow motion.
I can, like I said, I can only imagine. I have a son. My son is 40, and when I tell you, I worry about him walking out the door like I did when he was 16. And I realized just by virtue of him being a Black man in America, that's probably not going to go away until I take my last breath or he takes his. Did you believe, or have you had any reason to believe that there may have been racial overtones connected to what happened? Has anybody inferred anything like that at all?
Not that we know of.
And like the race of all of the security officers.
It was, from my understanding, it was 2 Black.
I thought I saw.
It was 3 Black and 2 white.
Okay.
I mean, 1 white, 3 Black and 1 white. So the white one was the one that was doing the beating and the aggressing and talking crazy, and the other 3 were holding them down.
Really?
Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable.
So please keep us posted when the press conference happens. I want to be able to follow the case.
Okay.
You know, I know as you start talking to attorneys, conversations get limited,
Right.
but people are going to want to pay attention to what happened.
Yeah.
I think that, first of all, it says a lot. You know, when you see the family show up, it makes a huge difference. It humanizes Mr. Mitchell, and it provides some accountability, because far too often these things happen and
it's swept under the rug.
It's swept under the rug.
Mhm.
And you got people pushing to say, no, not mine. You know, because I tell people all the time, I remember watching Trayvon Martin's mom. She was going to be on Good Morning America, and her and Trayvon's dad appeared. And when they got done, the interviewer, George Stephanopoulos, he said, oh, so reserved, so refined, and so respected. And I got so mad because people try to box us in how we grieve as families, and particularly as Black families. And I said, from the top of the rooftop, I'm clowning. You hurt my baby from the top of the rooftop. And so because you never know in that moment, but having people be accountable and in front of this whole thing, you know, I am just so glad y'all there for him, because his side of the story could possibly never be known. And even if it is an issue of mental health, you don't deserve to die because of that.
No.
You know, whatever you did, they haven't brought forth anybody that was physically harmed, attacked, assaulted.
And that's what I was gonna say. Nowhere in the statements that they gave did they say that anything was trashed or damaged inside of the Hyatt. No one was assaulted or hurt. The only person that ended up messed up in this situation, or ended up dead in this situation, was Devontae. So if he caused that much of a ruckus, what did he cause, and to who and why?
Because I'm like, because the police report, is it completed?
No,
it's not completed.
The police
yet.
are not saying anything. They're not giving us any updates. When my aunt called several times, they kept saying, we don't have an update to give you. So they haven't said a word about nothing.
Huh. Okay. Well,
but I want to get out there to everyone that's listening and to spread the word. There were people down there when this was happening, because his screams is what drew people to the Hyatt to find out what was going on. So if you were there and you seen what was going on, if you have a video, please come forward. If you have videos that you don't, want to be a part of it, submit it anonymously to the radio stations, contact us on social media, but please do not let this go by the wayside.
I think that's an excellent ask because you just, I mean, it's downtown. You just never know who saw what, and people shy away. You do have the ability to contact us here at the radio station to say, Michelle, we need to get in touch with the family, or we want to send you the video. We are more than happy to be the people that do,
The
act in that,
intermediary.
act in that capacity. But if they want to reach out directly to any family member, is there a Facebook profile, or how should they try to reach out if somebody has information?
What'd you say?
You want them to go to you directly
Yeah, that's fine.
because your name is easier to remember.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Samantha Mitchell.
Samantha Mitchell on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
well, look, y'all. Please. Oh wait, we got a caller. Hang on a second. I want to just make sure I wrap this piece up. Please utilize us as a resource. Keep us updated about the press conference time. I'll make sure I announce it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've involved your local legislators in this conversation,
Not
but
yet.
it's worth doing
Okay.
to say that, you want to be able to make sure that
Yeah.
they are aware, that they are helping you get information from the police. People don't think about legislators in that capacity. I'm telling you,
It
utilize
helps.
legislators
Mhm.
as well. And everybody should be able to be at the table to help you get answers. So
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having us on. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. And we'll keep you updated.
All right, y'all. Let me take one quick break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Devontae Mitchell. We'll be right back, y'all.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant, on 860 WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So this conversation this morning is a two-part conversation. I had mentioned Sean Moore's name when I was talking to the family of Mr. Mitchell, who was the individual that was killed outside of the Hyatt Hotel by security personnel after some interaction with them. And it, I brought up Trayvon Martin as I sat here. It brings to mind so many people that have come in contact with either law enforcement or some form of security, and they have ended up losing their lives in ways that you just thought, like, how does this end up in death? And so easily, the case of Isaiah Allen comes to mind. And I'm joined in studio, Sean Moore, and that Miss Natalie Easter, Isaiah's mother. Hello, first of all, how y'all doing? Good. So we have had you all in a few times. Number one, talking about the work that was done to stop the gas station from reopening and trying to skirt over Isaiah's murder. The security guard that was working there that, folks tried to deny he was one, and then talking about how this individual was able to have a gun and ultimately what that looked like. And then the bigger work or additional work to be able to make it safe in other stores, to start talking about who was allowed to work in those stores, security personnel. So can you all provide some updates on where we are in that conversation?
So I was just reading some, and it says that the lawsuit has been rescinded, the ordinance. So I'm as part of the agreement, the city won't enforce the ordinance in the coming weeks until it's rescinded. So I don't know what the update is, but if the city attorney, if the alderman, whoever downtown think that we're going to go away, we're going to stop, that this ordinance isn't going to become law, then they can get ready to lose their jobs too.
Okay, so this is what I just pulled up. This was dated May 13th. So this whole issue is about private security that businesses were employing either at these gas stations. We know that neighborhood, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't even say neighborhood, but that other businesses ended up being pulled in, whether we were talking about bars and taverns, nightclubs. And so we're talking bouncers, ID checkers, gas station attendants in Milwaukee are once again required to get a private security license, at least for now. So this was back in May when this story appeared, and it said, let me see. Oh, this one's 10 hours ago. So let's look at this. In an effort to provide more regulations for private security guards in the city of Milwaukee has taken a big step back. A new ordinance that required security guards to have a city license and undergo a background check is being rescinded. When a convenience store owner asked the city of Milwaukee for a license renewal in April 23, he insisted safety was taken care of. 4 months later, prosecutors charged William Pinkin with first-degree intentional homicide. He's accused of shooting and killing 29-year-old Isaiah Allen, who tried stealing a snack cake. As a convicted felon, state law says Pinkin never should have been working as a security guard in the first place. William Sultan is representing Allen's family, who welcomed the passing of an ordinance in March that required security guards to obtain a city license and undergo a background check. Sultan had said, we're seeing them kill people, we're seeing them maim people, and we're seeing them injure people with impunity, it seems. 2 weeks later, a group of 4 nightclubs and a tow company sued to block it, arguing it's unconstitutional. And on Monday, July 1st, the sides agreed to end the case once the city rescinds the ordinance. It certainly is the wrong decision, Sultan said. We need more help on the private security front, not less restrictions. Evan Goike, who is the new city attorney, explained the decision. He said, our analysis and review in the last couple of weeks is that we would ultimately believe we would not be successful if the case moved forward. And that's because of a 2015 state law that prohibits municipalities from creating any new licenses. So what comes next? Still, Goike said this isn't the end of the original effort. We agree with the intention of the ordinance, but our advice is that we take a different path to meet those goals, Goike said. As a part of the agreement, the city won't enforce the ordinance in the coming weeks until it's rescinded. The State Department of Safety and Professional Services already provides licensing for private security agencies, but city leaders want to fix a loophole that allows businesses to hire security on their own. So
He can be recalled too.
so let's first of all hear what he said. Is that there is a state law that prohibits local municipalities, so the city of Milwaukee, any city or village in the state, from creating their own licensing requirements. So this is at least if what is in this article is to be taken at face value, this is a state issue. And that's why people talked about the need to address and fix a loophole. So what do you think about just now learning this?
If that's what they want us to,
It's not
if, if that's what they want us to fix, then we can try to fix that and go to the state level, because it needs to be addressed and fixed. This should not keep being allowed. Devontae and my son Isaiah Allen did not deserve to lose their life for any reason. We do not have death row in Wisconsin. So whatever they did or was accused of doing or allegedly did, it did not fit the punishment. Their death did not fit the punishment of whatever they was being accused of.
And you want to say something, Sean? The thing that was interesting when Alderwoman Andrea Pratt first introduced this ordinance, one of the backlashes was that the ordinance could prevent convicted felons from getting a job. And I said, no, it doesn't. It prevents you from doing certain jobs.
Correct.
And right now, there are certain things, if you are convicted of, you are prohibited from certain kinds of employment.
Right.
You don't want no
Use the mic.
You don't want no pedophile in no daycare, do you?
Exactly. And
Right.
we have laws that talk to that and speak to that. So that was the thing. And I've actually talked to some of the tavern owners. They saw me at an event and we ended up talking about this lawsuit. And, I said, even then, I said, I don't understand the mentality behind trying to co-sign for somebody who's a convicted felon with a violent past to be able to work security.
Right.
Because you demonstrated, even though you are entitled to second chances and all of that, but if you got assaults in your background, domestic violence in your background, why should you be able to be a security guard interacting with people?
You shouldn't. There's other jobs you can go and get.
So that was my initial like pushback and feedback when they were like, Michelle, you don't understand. I'm like, y'all, I'm sorry, but there are certain jobs you cannot get if you are convicted of certain crimes, from the financial industry to education, being around children in daycare, as you said.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I can't go to the police department with a certain background.
I'm just using my thoughts. This is just my thoughts. If I was a club owner or nightclub owner, I wouldn't want a person that's already dispositioned to violence to work for me and cause me to lose my business.
Because that's what's going to happen. So this ordinance, it was to protect the public, but it was also to enhance the businesses so that the public can feel safe going out.
Right.
But you want to fight against families that are losing their children.
And I mean, and like I'm gonna just tell you, because the club owners that I was talking to, it's already a difficult situation. Yeah. So we were at an event and there were the security guards that were connected to this particular club.
Okay.
And they were walking through the area where we were for this event. And they had on flak jackets, so they got on bulletproof vests.
Mm-hmm.
And we know they had guns, but they had their shirts covering them.
Mhm.
And this is a, family oriented kind of event. And I'm like, you already create a certain level of angst when you have people in areas presenting themselves in a certain kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to bring in the people who have the best ability to deal with the public, that don't appear to be menacing, even though I'm assuming menacing sales if you're trying to keep riffraff at your door. I don't know. But I just remember just thinking in that moment, like, I could see how stuff gets out of hand, because even as these brothers was walking by me, I was getting irritated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was getting irritated because I'm like, why you got on a bulletproof vest out here?
And it's
And then you start
event.
acting extra big boyish
Yeah.
when you got this gear on,
Yep.
like you the damn police.
Yeah.
So all of that was just, and I don't like authority anyway, so I don't do it. Shut up, Debo. Yeah, I mean, it irritates me, and so I'm like, so you got to make sure you hiring people that got people skills
Mhm.
that can de-escalate a situation.
Yes.
But if you got people with felony convictions for DV, that means you don't put your hands on somebody and
Yeah.
caught a case for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't went to jail for assault and battery. So you got some anger management issues. You got some control issues.
Yeah.
You don't need
I'm
to be
not
at the
saying-
door working no.
Yeah,
No.
it might have been
Security, bro.
self-defense, but you went to jail, so
don't
somebody
need to
didn't
do
think it was self-defense. I just don't understand why you create these situations. You could self-police this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to have ordinances and laws for you to make sure you're hiring the best people for these jobs. So at this point, you think you'll reach out to DISPIS, the Department of Licensing, Public Safety and Licensing, Regulation and Licensing?
Do.
Yeah.
We'll be at license hearings. We'll be up in Madison. We'll be at the attorney's office because
Wherever we
I
need
want
to
to see him
go.
too.
Yeah.
Every case he got, I'm gonna be in his courtroom. I'm gonna disrupt it. He won't make a dime if it's up to me. Not a dime. He can go back to Africa, Nigeria, wherever he's from.
Mhm.
And these companies, these businesses that continue to allow him to play you and put you against your community. When you see me at your hearing, fighting for your license, you'll know why. Find another way to feed your family. Because my sister don't see her son no more. And you standing for this dude that's fighting against a community, staying safe. So we're gonna fight against him.
But
Those signatures are still there.
they definitely are.
So what ended up, just as by way of an update
Yeah.
on the case of
I'm
the
sorry.
man,
Yeah.
look, it's understandable. Updates on the case of the man who ended up killing Isaiah,
The trial starts in August.
because this happened last year.
Yeah, it starts in August, and then it if you CCAP it, it looked like it go on for 3 weeks because they're only doing 3 days a week because he has dialysis and they're so concerned about his health. But he had them same health issues when he murdered my son. But they got it set up so it starts August 16th and it goes to the 29th.
Okay. Please keep us posted.
I definitely
I
will.
would also encourage you to reach out to your state legislators. They can help facilitate a meeting
Yes.
with the Department of Regulation and Licensing, DISPIS. They can help facilitate that meeting and help, figure out, because we need to see exactly what the loophole is.
Yeah.
And if that's just a bill that can be introduced at the state level
That's
to be
right.
able to
That's
close
right
that. And we don't have, we
Yeah,
don't have to
that's
do
right
that.
enough.
And this is the perfect time
Yep.
because with it being summer, people are drafting legislation right now to be ready to pull the trigger when they return from the break. So again, I'm gonna encourage you to reach out to your elected officials so people can help you get this done.
And just another quick note, I feel like if it was the way they wanted it in the state, I believe Devontae and Isaiah would have been here. They wouldn't
The
have
law
been.
was changed.
Yep.
I mean, because that would be interesting too. And now, with Devontae Mitchell's case, so I'm like, so is this Hyatt security? Is
Mhm.
this private security?
It's private security
Private.
hired by Hyatt.
yeah. I'm your
Yeah.
your
They're contracted.
contracting.
Yep.
But like I said, just the way this dude in the Devontae Mitchell case looked into that camera when she was videoing, he looked like what's his name, who had his knee on,
Chauvin.
Derek Chauvin. He just had that kind of
Yeah.
like smug,
Ain't
this
nobody
what
gonna do.
right,
Yeah.
and then you beating him in the head while he on the ground because you bad because you got 3 brothers helping you
Yep.
hold this dude
And
down.
you got the 2 ignorant sisters coming out. Well, I was there. I heard.
Because that was I was gonna
Yeah.
say. So how did you end up in the area,
I heard
Sean?
so my son is in a dorm down there,
Okay.
and I was going to Walgreens to get him some cleaning supplies.
Okay.
And when I came out the building, I heard the screams. When I came out the dorm,
You
which
can
is
hear
a
him
parking
screaming.
lot away.
You can hear the scream.
Yeah, please. So I go over there. I'm like, what's going on? And they get to telling me. So I pull my camera out. I'm like, dude, what is y'all doing?
So were there any bystanders pleading for them to
Man, wasn't
stop?
nobody saying nothing till I got up there, and me and that lady wasn't none except for the white guy that was his friend. Wasn't nobody telling them to get off him.
The white guy
stop
was
doing
the
it.
friend of who?
Devontae.
Okay.
Let him go. Nobody
People just watching this.
watching it. It was 20 to 30 people in that little valet section and by the double doors and people inside watching.
And so did you stay? How long did you stay? Did you stay?
I stayed the whole.
'cause I know you-
stayed till the medical examiner came.
So then what did the body language look like of the men who had just killed his
They didn't
brother?
care.
Really?
They didn't care. When the police came and got to checking the pulse, you seen, looks on the brothers' faces like, oh wow. But the white dude, they put the brothers in the cars. The white dude stayed out.
Wait.
Yes. Yes.
The brothers that was the part of the security holding
Yes.
him down were sat
They were-
inside
They
police
were
cars.
separated, put in the cars. The white dude was over by the parking lot
Okay,
talking
so
with the police.
Jeff Norman, I'm calling you on that.
Seriously. And he was out there for about 30, 45 minutes. They let them walk back in the building when they pulled up. Now, the police, they went right to trying to bring him back, right?
Right.
But when the other ones got to coming, after he died, that's when we need to talk. Brought him out one by one. They was in there at least 30, 45 minutes getting their story together. Okay. Put the brothers in the cars. The white dude who was beating him,
He stands outside.
he
don't even-
outside talking to the police like it's nothing. He knew he wasn't going to jail.
But that go back to what Attorney Sultan said. He got not just my son case, but he got 2 other security guard cases. But all the people that was murdered are black.
I mean, and like I said, because even though I asked about the race of the security officers, I'm sorry. They just don't handle white folks the way they handle us.
No,
Even black folks. Black
Mhm.
folks don't handle white folks the way they handle black folks.
I got
You
that
know-
recorded too. So if Norman want to see it, I got it for him.
Because I'm just trying to black in
I think we
America,
need to
Jesus
send it to
Christ.
her.
Okay. Well, please. I know this trial is not going to be easy.
It's not.
I'm praying this should be open and shut because your son had left the store.
Yep.
He came out chasing him about a cake.
Devontae had left the hotel.
Had he?
He was outside the hotel.
I didn't know if they had pushed him out,
He was
escorted
outside.
him out.
They said they were escorting him. So, okay, if you escorting him, how did he end up on the ground dying? If y'all didn't do nothing to him?
And like the video gonna tell it all.
Yeah.
The video, I mean, what you know what we do with video, Rodney King.
Dude
Mhm.
chased my nephew down. Nephew didn't even see him coming.
The trial ain't gonna be no worse. I think the trial probably will be the easy part. When I watched that surveillance video, that just broke my heart because my son had left the store. He thought that the person that was coming out the door, Isaiah never turned around. He thought the person that was coming out the store was his friend that he walked into the store with. And that's when Pinkin just walked up behind him and shot, and my baby just dropped.
So he wasn't even facing.
Nope.
Well, these cases never get, they never get, I think, fully the attention that they deserve. I'm so glad that you all are, and let me be clear, y'all, they making sure they stay on me to keep this case relevant and on the air. And I'm glad that we have the ability to, choose what we, talk about. And I'm giving that latitude here at the station because this falls off people's radar otherwise.
Yes, it do. And I'm glad that Devontae family came in and it's bringing awareness to it. I don't normally just reach out to everybody family, but when I seen the video, and I was out of town when it happened, I came back Sunday evening. So when I seen it and heard about it, I'm like, look, we got to do something, even if we just go stand on the corner with a banner, bring attention to the Hyatt, because the Hyatt is like a hotel that you wouldn't expect that type of behavior to happen.
Right.
That's someplace you wouldn't think that would happen, but it happened.
The callousness, though, because, and like you're saying, they're not worried about the reputation of the hotel, because normally you try to hush that.
Yeah.
Move it along. Sir, if you could just leave the premises. You ain't trying to big boy and be bad.
Yeah.
So now I got to go back and watch where y'all talked about he was beating him in the head, just randomly. And then I just want to look at the bros that was holding him down, like, for real, bros? Like, really? Because how you feeling about yourself right now? And while I'm not saying if Mr. Mitchell was disruptive and out of order, you don't help to calm that. But at what point do you tell this white dude, like, man, hold up, the hell you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you gonna kill this dude. And I'm not gonna be a part of that. Like, let this man go, especially when he begging.
Yeah.
But now you want to be big boy, overseer. And so this is what you get.
And
That wasn't your job.
I've seen a lot of stuff in these streets. I've never seen anything like that. And thinking about it afterwards, right? To watch that man die like that.
I mean, like,
and to see people act like it's nothing.
And that's why I just don't understand how people aren't speaking up. I keep saying I would love to believe, and I pray that I would have had the strength. I would have had to go to jail behind that Derek Chauvin nonsense, because number one, I'm on the phone, get a supervisor on this scene right now. And then I'm telling the police, like, this dude, like, I just couldn't see myself standing there. I don't know how people do it. And that sister who was videotaping, but she was like, public property. And the little young
she
chick
left though.
Did she?
Yeah,
She didn't stay.
They ran her off. That's when I got the video.
Hyatt people ran her off, or the police?
The ladies, right?
Yeah.
They was trying to fight her.
I saw the little short chick. She sure was trying, and I wanted to come back and be able to talk to her,
trying to stop her,
and be like, "So how you feel today, sis?"
Yeah,
because they killed this man. This woman was right to be videotaping it.
The lady asked me,
but I wish she had walked upon me, because I saw, and she was like talking strong to this lady too, like
I'm like
she was gonna whoop her,
right?
Yeah.
On the video, when I started filming, that's when I started filming, because she stopped filming.
Okay.
And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm trying to tell her, like, because I know, listen, what's taking place right now, if y'all don't stop, some bad gonna happen. You know what I mean? And I was out there 7 to 10 minutes, Michelle, before the police came, which means they didn't call the police right away.
Yeah, because it's downtown.
Yeah.
It's downtown. It wasn't far. They wasn't far.
Yeah. And if I wouldn't have been there.
And just think about it. They was already on top of him when you got there.
there.
So you if your time frame is accurate, they're on him 7 to 10 minutes while you there,
Yeah.
plus however long they had been on him when you first heard him
Yeah.
screaming.
Yeah.
So you think about somebody putting all of that pressure on somebody
Four
all
people.
that time.
4 people weight pushing down on you.
I just want some people to just show up down there at the Hyatt with some signs for whether the family down there or not. I that's what I want.
All right, y'all. Well, I got another.
Appreciate
I gotta do
it.
a transition, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is what I hope anybody's family would do, is continue to fight, continue to raise awareness, and y'all trying to make it better for other people so that nobody
Yes.
else goes through this.
Yes,
So
that was the
Miss,
whole point.
yeah, Miss Easter, I appreciate you. Sean, man, I'm like, where does dude get this video from? And I'm like, he filming this. All right, y'all. Michelle Bryant, let me take a quick break. WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Be right back. Woo, Lord. Wasn't ready for this day. It's funny. And caller, I know you have been on hold. I am coming. It's moments like this that, life is put into perspective for you. A lot of people were reaching out to me last night, that supported Lakeisha and like, okay, so what's next? What happens? And, one of the things I said to a couple of people that I spoke with, I said, number one, we were prepared for this election result for this short-term seat, not worried. We understood it. And we were fine with that. I said, but when I look at the totality of this young sister's life, the things that she has accomplished already, you know, her battling and serving and working all along, going through this thing with, kidney failure, getting a organ transplant, only to have her body reject that transplant and having to start this process all over again. Because I often smile when Dan Bice did his hit piece on Lakeisha, and they used this picture of her, just her face was real fat, just real full. And it's all kinds of pictures you could have used of Lakeisha, but they wanted to try to show a picture that made her look unattractive or, something. Because all of her pictures are out there. You could pick from any one. And it's the same picture that they all keep using. And you're trying to subliminally do damage, send a message. And I smile when I see that picture because I know at that moment that girl was fighting for her life. I know that when they're picking the picture, trying to show her in what they feel is the least attractive state, she's fighting for her life in that picture. I just got my renewal notice from the DMV telling me my license expires on my birthday next month and I need to get my license renewed. When I open the envelope, there is a flyer about being an organ donor, which I am on my driver's license. And Lakeisha's picture is on that flyer. Many of you, when you get that renewal for your driver's license, because I don't have to go in, I can renew online. The flyer that they use to tell people about organ donation is Lakeisha Myers. And for the raggedy white people in the Wauwatosa School District who was trying to create a bunch of drama for her that don't know, she fighting kidney failure and tried to she doesn't come to work, she doesn't do this, whatever they was trying to say. And then you wanted to try to destroy her by publicly, because this, whatever went on at Wauwatosa School District, that's a work-related situation. How does that end up in the newspaper? Because jealous-hearted, nasty-ass white people in the Wauwatosa School District was trying to destroy this child. They was trying to destroy this young woman who from her hospital bed continued to legislate and was writing bills and doing interviews from her hospital bed and from her recovery period. And so I was talking to people last night to reassure people, cream always rise to the top. That race yesterday is the least of Lakeisha's worries. When Jim Clyburn said, I ran for office 3 times before I got elected to the House of Representatives, all those things you hear with purpose. But for people that think that, and I'm gonna just be quiet and move on to the caller. But I always have people, they were like, Michelle, what you gonna do? Michelle, what happens to you? I tell people all the time, you ain't gotta never worry about Michelle not for 5 minutes, because I'm educated and I got skills. And I can find a job anywhere, anytime. When you educated or you trained and you got skills, employment is not an issue. And it helps not to have a criminal record. It's not an issue. And so I was talking about, the race last night, and I said, do you understand this girl's credentials? Whatever go on for Lakeisha gonna be fine. What I worry about is our community who does not understand what happens inside the Capitol, who does not understand how often some of these legislators sit on their behind and don't defend us, who don't understand how people allow other folks to control them and have them be silent when they should be speaking up, how some people are lazy and do the least but always want the most attention in front of a camera. How you can be black and barely put 5 minutes worth of energy into doing Black History Month programming at the Capitol. How you can be black and not submit names for the Black History Month resolution. That's the part. That's the part that I feel so bad for our community. I don't ever feel bad. When Lena didn't become the mayor, I didn't feel bad for that because she gonna be fine. This girl a lawyer, 20 years legislative experience, she gonna be fine. But when the community loses that voice, that fighter, that respect that she commanded on behalf of Milwaukee, you wasn't doing any and everything to Milwaukee and not understanding you had to go through Lena Taylor, at least when it came to the 4th Senate District. And so the conversations had a different handle of respect on them when you came our way. We don't have enough Black legislators that command that level of respect and or power in the building. Some of them are still too new. Some of them are still too scared. Some of them are not willing. They just glad to have a job and be in the room. And as I go to the caller, the one thing I'm going to say is Lakeisha was warned by one of her Black legislative colleagues in the assembly who endorsed her opponent in this race a while ago. You should fall back on Lena Taylor. You shouldn't be too aligned with Lena Taylor. I'm afraid they're going to take you down because they don't like Lena Taylor. And Lakeisha just smiled and, yeah, that ain't how I ride with my friends and the people who support me and who have been there for me and who are and have been one of the most effective legislators in the state legislature. Yeah, that ain't what I do, bruh. That's not what I do. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle, Debo, and Carter.
Good morning.
Every day we have our issues. And every day it could be any one of us. To the Mitchell family, please accept my condolence. And a lot more people know your son than you know. And a lot more people can speak up. But I'm telling you right now, when they see a big guy and he's black, they fear us. And they think it takes an enormous amount of power to hold you down. Now, if 4 guys, like the guy, the white guy that said when he looked at it, it just reminded him of George Floyd. The Caucasian woman that said, let him up or do whatever. And the black guy that said they were beating him about the head. And then the news station, really, that little poor report he did, a 6-year-old could have done better. Not really nothing about, well, and the police said that there's not going to be no investigation and all this. How you jump way to that before you even know the facts?
Right.
And number one, it's a lot of story there. Don't worry, it's going to get taken care of. And some people are going to come forth and they're going to find out it's not what it seems. Because he was a gentle giant. And I got this from people that worked with him from an organization that he had just left for help. So my thing is this, you never know who people know. So that's to the Mitchell family. And the family that just left there, my thing is this, whoever gives license to someone to secure or be security for their building are responsible. Not only am I going to sue your security, I'm going to sue you for hiring them. So the city shouldn't have to put no special ordinance in there. Now, if I was a criminal, I don't know if this is right. Some lawyers call in if you want to. I could run a security company, but never go on any job. And because I'm that criminal with this bad attitude, I can train the people that I hire what I expect of them. You don't kill a man. Most security guards that don't have a gun, he was running away from fire. You don't kill nobody over no package of sweet rolls. You should lose your life for that. So they already have a case for that. And that gas station is not open now. And I'm praying that their case gets what they're looking for. And the next thing about voting, you can sit on your tails if you want to. And Michelle, I work with an organization and a lot of young people. And you'll be surprised how some of the people that work in those organizations do not believe in voting.
Mm.
I'm not going out with someone like that. I'm going out telling people, if it didn't make a difference, it wouldn't be so much ruckus. And on Al Sharpton's show, they mess with your radio, they mess with this, they mess with us all the time. You think you're being messed with now? Now they're tolerating us to hear these things. Let Donald Trump get in there and see how much tolerance you get. Let him get into office and see where you be. And to Letitia Myers, hey, keep your head up, keep running, because just like God had a plan for Lena, he's got one for you.
Yes,
and the people, the girl that did get in there, the young lady that got in there, surprise them. And do your job to represent your constituents, because that's not what it's about today. They do not represent you. Republicans, it's about the party, not the constituents. Get it straight. And those of you that want Donald Trump to be your king, it's not going to be what you think. And it's not going to be about what you think it is. And now getting back to our Democratic Party. Here we have supported Biden. He showed us who he is and what he's done for us. It's not just about blacks. He represents everybody. And he wants everyone to have the same rights and opportunities. So, if you've been supporting me, why didn't you come to me in private and talk to me? Instead of talking to, when a family has a crisis, the family comes together and they shut out all the friends and they discuss, what do we do from here? How do we fight this fight? You don't get out there and question his integrity and stuff. When I came off this trip, I'm still fighting labs and thoughts because I'm just drained.
All right.
When you use your brain all the time, we need to be supporting him. Stop talking to the reporters and support him, because we don't have no other option. And you're going to find that out quickly. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes,
and keep our heads up, black folks, because they've been trying to get rid of us, trying to dump on us, and haven't worked yet. Don't let it work.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call. And, I'll just remind people that there is another election. The election that was held yesterday is only to fill the Senate term through the end of the year. So that person will come in, Representative Drake will be sworn in as a senator sometime, maybe first, second week in August. But remember, August 13th is the election to determine who will sit in that seat for the next 4 years. So we got a lot. We got a lot going on, but to remind people of that. Got another caller on the line. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm all over the place. I'm just talking about this Hyatt thing.
Okay.
That happened around, I would say, 3 o'clock, and I'm looking at the news at 9, 10 o'clock, and they're saying ain't no criminal charges. How can you determine that in a matter of hours when ain't nobody sending to Jeffrey Norman or about Jeffrey Norman? See, he getting a pass because he black. How can you go down there and determine that? Secondly, they mentioned walking around with signs. Do what they do, and I hope they get all the support. I'm not a believer in that. We've been doing that since probably the 50s, and it ain't worked out. The Let's quit giving these people our money. Money hurts the lack of money hurts everybody. Quit supporting these places. Maybe, and say, I ain't even gonna support your next door neighbor because y'all probably all have the same mindset. And this, I'm gonna call out to the Kia boys and everybody who done fired a shot by their grandmama and their mama and their baby mama house. Go down there and throw a rock through the Hyatt windows, you know. And it's pitiful. And lastly, we have to learn to respect each other. Nobody's gonna respect us until we respect each other. When Tyrone them jump a guy on the block and kill him like that, we have to have the same fight. We have to have the same outrage as we do when a mentally challenged brother get killed downtown or by the cops. You know, if one thing for sure, when you won't accept it from nobody, you won't accept it from nobody. If I was dating you, Michelle, and I put my hands on you, and I knew your daddy or your brothers was going to put more hands on me, I guarantee you I'm going to think 4 times before I think about putting my hands on you. And the thing is, we got to quit tolerating our babies, our women, and everybody else getting killed when Pookie and them doing it. We got to quit doing it to each other, and it's got to be a no-no, no matter where it comes from. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I just, it reminds me of when the shooting happened over at Molson Coors, and then Chief of Police, I forgot his name, but he, you know, immediately gets on the mic within hours of this incident and talks about how, you know, it wasn't racially motivated, in that nobody had done anything to the shooter that was inappropriate, you know. And it's like, well, that had to be the quickest investigation in history. How are you making a declarative sentence about what happened and your investigators still on the scene? For them to try to act like that this doesn't require an investigation and whether or not there was an excessive use of force in subduing this man is madness to me, particularly when they show the video and the man is being beat repeatedly in the head when he's on the ground. And if you safe enough to look at a camera and talk junk about this, what happens, then you clearly wasn't you wasn't fighting for your life. You wasn't in harm's way. Just think about that. If I got time to look up at a camera and talk smack, I can't be in danger. So why is he still being forcibly pinned to the ground? And then, yeah, Chief Norman and other, the captain of the district that runs that area by downtown, help us understand what Sean said he observed and whether or not the black men that were involved in pinning his brother down were sat in squad cars and interviewed, but the white dude who actually did all the beating was able just to stand outside and freely chit-chat it up. And then how do you tell people there will be no investigation? Of course there needs to be an investigation. Of course there needs to be a review of the video. Of course there needs to be more transparency about what happened down there. See, that's why you got to call it being Crump. And people get mad. Why y'all always, you know, bringing these people in from the outside? Because the people inside don't do their job. Because I'm calling everybody from zero to Jesus if you kill mine. That's my frustration. You had, and the sisters, you want to fight the woman that's videoing and was talking jazzy. You ain't but yay big and was talking strong like you was about to beat her because she videotaping this man who ultimately ends up dying. I always say it don't never be me. It don't never be me. It don't never be me. to the point that I stopped videotaping. It don't never be me. He dead now. And can't nobody tell me he sexually assaulted nobody, he attacked somebody. You can't tell me what he did. The extent of it was disorderly. I have been threatened with disorderly conduct for laughing too loud in my hotel room because we was cracking up laughing at something, and it was three of us, and we didn't realize we was laughing that loud at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the police knocked on our door because they thought something was going on in the room because we was in there cracking up. We literally were laughing. 3 Black women. When we heard the knock at the door, we looked up and was like, what? And I went to the door like, what? It was the police. Is there a disturbance in this room? No. Well, what's going on? We in here laughing. And we'll keep it down before you get charged with disorderly conduct. Like, dude, get out of here. We in the hotel room. So what constituted disorderly conduct? And should you die for disorderly conduct? And is your life not worth anything that the police don't do additional measures? And I'm not saying, I don't know what they've done. I don't know what the extent of the investigation is. I don't know if it's over. But y'all, that man should not be dead today. And somebody got to answer for that. He shouldn't be dead today. We can't normalize, which is what we've done in this country, the death of Black men. Oh, 4 more brothers died, in a shootout. 4 more brothers died in a, reckless car driving. 4 more brothers died, blah, blah, blah. We've normalized it. It's okay. But you don't ever see white men die. And you going to tell me white men don't ever be disorderly? White men don't ever cuss out the police. White men don't ever run from the police. White men don't ever act a fool. But guess who get to live and walk away? White folks shoot up the grocery store, shoot up this. Guess who get to walk away? Wasn't the one white man offered Burger King before they took him to jail? Was it Dylan? What's his name? The shooter was offered Burger King. I'm just saying. I am thankful for the Ben Crumps. I had an opportunity to be in a room and listen to him speak last summer. Ben Crump is a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. And he talked about that this was never the intent necessarily to become this dude when it relates to civil rights cases and being the person that gets called. Al Sharpton has said, I don't show up unless somebody called for me to come. When I sat at the school board meeting a couple meetings back, and there was a moment when some stuff was about to break out. And one of the people in the meeting, I know who she is. I was looking in her face and her mouth when she said it. She said, somebody call Von Mays. And I remember thinking in that moment how we don't have enough heroes and people that stand up for us, that we trust to stand up for us. This sister said, somebody call Von Mays. And I just couldn't believe it. They didn't say call elected official so-and-so and so. They didn't say call the mayor. They didn't say call the county executive. They didn't say call the sheriff. They said somebody call Von Mays. It was a distressing situation. And when community members had to think about who got their back, who gonna do their best to keep them safe, I literally was stunned as I sat there. Not shocked. No, I'm not saying this right. I was stunned at the lack of depth of the list because no other names got called. They didn't say call Michelle. They didn't say call Lena. But before they would have said call Lena because they knew as a senator, she was going to zoom and fly up in there. Heels on and everything. Our people in that meeting didn't feel like they had nobody to call to stand up for them and with them. It was elected officials in the room. They didn't feel that they had anybody. They said, call Von Mays. I just want people to think about that for a second. Think about that. So that's how Ben Crump ends up coming to the city. Let me get ready to go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. Hello? If you can hear me, we can't hear you. All right, caller, try to call us back. All right, family. We got a lot of work to do. We'll see if now that Dora Drake has won, the special election, if she'll blow through the morning show here at the station. We'll see if they're able to get a debate for these two candidates for the 4-year term. I know there have been some requests. I don't know, what people are doing, but we'll see. But I today congratulate her on her victory. As somebody who works in the 4th Senate District, who lives in the 4th Senate District, it'll be good to have a representative that can be in the office and responsive. Debo, let's try one more time and see if we can get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Hi, Michelle. I'm sorry I hit my grandson.
Oh, no, you're all right. You're all right.
Okay, I just want to share this with you. It won't take me that long. I received a flyer, I think, all down our block on the by the Milwaukee Police Department.
Okay.
It's called Operation Summer Guardian, where the police department is planning on saturating our neighborhood area. It says the Milwaukee Police Department is committed to working in your area, taking the area neighborhood state, reviewing and revealing the increase of gunfire. They're saying that they have technical equipment now to see how many gun shootings there in area. Now, I live off of 25th Street, so I imagine it's between 27th Street off of Capitol Drive. There's a lot of shootings. I heard them last night. Now, it's hard to determine, not too much, but with this being the 4th of July, I don't know how they're going to determine that between the 4th of July, which I kind of know firecrackers, but last night wasn't no firecrackers. Not on my block so much, but between 26th and 24th place. I've had a bullet come through my window during the Christmas, and I found the bullet and I turned it in. My neighbor did the same thing. Now, this was years ago. Okay, so it says, as a member of the community, be aware you are on notice to increase police presence to address the firearm related in violence. This is coming from him. It's a blue flyer, and it's called Operation Summer Guardian.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I have actually pulled it up, and thank you for flagging it. They are planning to be in 27 neighborhoods, according to the document that they put out. They chose those neighborhoods based on gun activity that they were able to pick up. So I will spend some time talking about that program tomorrow. Thank you so much for the call. All right, family, I got to get ready to get out of the way. head to Madison so I can resign from my job today. And I will I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.